Good evening. Good evening. Hopefully everybody is doing well. I have got a full house behind the scenes here, which we're going to introduce you to in just a few minutes. A couple things going on for those in Patreon. I will finish everything tonight. I've been kind of busy with a lot of stuff going on, but I've already responded to community tab. I've got another little video that'll be up first thing in the morning. Hang on one second here. And then I've got another video, which is going to be a top 25 coming out here on YouTube this week. So you will see some stuff going on the channel. I've got a few other things I'm doing announcement for. I did some tests in the study on sales. What works, what doesn't. So that's a video going to come out tomorrow. I would recommend watching it if you're having issues with sales. I've been running tests for weeks, and this seems to work the best. Before we go any farther, I'm going to pop everybody else on the screen. We're going to go around and introduce everybody. So you'll get the introductions here. We're going to start with Bill. Bill's been around for quite some time, and we'll let them introduce themselves as they go along through here, though. It's up to you, Bill. You want to holler out there?
Hi, everybody. My name's Bill Curry. I've been an eBay seller for a little over 15 years. We mostly do the antiques collectibles. We buy, sell just about everything from farm critters all the way up to modern day stuff. We also have an online auction company called Auction Monkey. It's right there. And we're looking forward to this round table and discussing kind of what we do and trying to learn something new. And I'll lead into the next one from there.
We'll pop over to Eric. This is Eric. We'll get you
Hello.
on there.
Hello, I'm Eric Winship with Jenn Eric Treasures. I've been doing resale on eBay I'm probably the newest here, for about 6 months and doing it full time, and sell basically everything, antiques to vintage, anything that I can buy low and sell high.
That is the game. Let's pop it down to Renee here.
Hi, I'm Renee from Mom's Fabulous Finds. I have an eBay store for about 2 years. I sell everything, but mostly, a lot of jewelry, some artwork, some vintage signs, and some silver, besides clothing and shoes. So
wide range of stuff there for sure. Let's get Susan on there. Let's let Susan introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Susan Suzaru. That's my nickname, Harvard. I'm in Marin County, California, just north of San Francisco. My eBay store has been collectibles for about, 6-7 months, but pretty much been on eBay selling for, at least, 15 years, but not as a full-time reseller. But I've been reselling full-time for the last 2 years, sourcing and reselling. I find myself a lot better at sourcing than I am at getting things listed, hence the background here. But yeah, that's what we're doing.
Well, we'll pop it on to Travis. Now, Travis has been on before, but he kind of got suckered out of the intro and the whole intro and the ending. So we've got Travis back here now.
Yeah. Hey, I'm Travis. I have an eBay store for a couple years. It's called Bio Digital Jazz. Pretty wide range of items too, but over the couple years, I've been trying to figure out a way to kind of streamline that so I don't have to do a whole bunch of new things every time I list something or sell something. I got caught up look at Susan's background there and all those cool things. So I don't really got much more than that. I will say that I've been enjoying my time on Jiminy Flippets on Monday nights, guest hosting or guest starring or whatever he tells me to do, guest gopher. So that's about what I'm up to. And I do appreciate Don having me back on, though I didn't really feel like I got messed up, but I appreciate it nonetheless.
Just want to give everybody that fair chance there. Jiminy Flippet. Yeah, Marty's a real good guy. I've talked to Marty for quite some time. Yeah, I noticed that you guys did a show. I never have much chance to see much else these days. My eye issues kind of limit me. Now, I actually have a couple questions from a few folks. and a couple of them are from Patreon, and I want to put this out there. I get asked this question too. So we're going to go around the table. I probably won't blow up everybody because for me, it's a nuisance to go back and forth, but get to see everybody in from here on out. Why reselling? That was the first question that I literally had. And I don't know how many times people have asked me, why are you a reseller is the biggest question I've personally had when they get personal on stuff. How about you, Bill? Why are you a reseller? I guess lead into how you got into it would be the first step, because I get people asking, you know, how do you get into something like this? How do you know it? How do you survive? I mean, so we'll start you off there, Bill.
Growing up in a rural upbringing, cash was tight. There was a lot of horse trading that went on and looking for value and things from there. I'm in Southern Maryland on the Chesapeake, and I used to laugh as a small kid that I could go out in the morning and push the little skiff around the creek and come up with a couple dozen soft crabs and take them to the little store where they would sell them to the tourists, and they would pay me $6 for these 2 dozen soft crabs, and I would laugh all the way home. Going into the reselling, one, there's always the thrill of the hunt when you find something really cool that everyone else has overlooked. And the other part is the challenge of putting it together. You build this, you find this, and anybody that resells, and from listening to Don for years, I know that he's a fellow lover of history. And sometimes just to hold some of those things is amazing. And the kick I get as I'm older now, and the people that work for me are significantly younger.
Over 40.
Over 40 doesn't work. I have a bunch of younger girls. We refer to them as auction divas, shipping divas. And an example that came up that was controversial with us, we had to make decisions on, was over some Black Americana pieces. And one of the girls, she's 23 years old. She's well aware of it, fairly well educated. And she got to hold a piece from the 1960s from a political candidate. And she literally had tears in her eyes reading this. And she says, you hear about this and you see it on TV, but till you actually hold it in your hands and it's real to you then, and how things have changed for the better from here to there. I mean, those are the types of things. And there's the bad part, you know, with scam buyers and, oh my God, I got to pack this, and another dumb question. But those are the cool things that come up, and they're what keep me going. And like Don, you know, I get up early in the morning and I go to work and I stay late, and you have to love it. And we try very hard to have fun doing this.
Very, very good. Very good. Let's move on to Eric here. Now let's hear your side story there, Eric.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm pretty new, and it's kind of in our genes, in my DNA, I guess. You know, my grandfather, you know, in Hawaii, he used to have this huge blue tarp in his backyard that was just filled with stuff that he's collected through the years. So, you know, if I were to go into a house now and see something like that, my eyes would just open up and I'd just be digging through it with no hesitation. But to reflect a lot about what Bill said, it's about the history, and it's about finding things, making connections with things and people, because, you know, I often believe that if we don't find these things and find a home for them, that they could just end up in a landfill. And it sounds silly, but in a lot of cases it could happen. I found a bullet pencil. This is one of the things that really connected me to this whole resale thing and really started me going down the path of making it a full-time venture. I found a bullet pencil and it had advertising on it, and I threw it up on eBay. I paid 25 cents for it, and I listed it for like $35 or something. And I sold about 2 days later, and the lady messaged me. She goes, the person on that is my late husband's father, and that was his company. And I'm in Denver and she's in Seattle. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I just made this connection for a pencil. And, you know, it just kind of gives you goosebumps. And as you go through, I've only been doing this for about 6 months, 7 months, and I've done quite a few of those type of connections. And it's addicting. So the thrill of the hunt, making those connections, just getting the feedback from people that really enjoy these little things that, I would never buy myself. I wouldn't even think there was any value in, but to somebody there is value. So that's kind of why I'm doing the resale. It's just fun and educational and rewarding. So
that's 100% true. I've hundreds of times someone said, hey, that was my great grandfather, that was this, my uncle owned it, they passed away here and there. I hear that not every day, but geez, a couple times a week someone says that to me, or I gotta have it. Do you have anything else with that same name on it from that same person? That's huge. That's, again, it gives you an idea what to look for. Those last names are key and essential these days, at least for what we sell. Let's pop it down to Renee there. Let's hear Renee's story.
Okay, well, I actually I've always shopped thrift shopping because I have a large family, and but what happened was that I actually quit my job to leave the state and take care of a family member, and I needed money, so I'm in it for the money. So that's how I started, and actually my dad and we used to go to thrift stores, so it was fun. And then I would just go and find things and sell them, and it worked. And so whatever it is, it's become more like now I work online in accounting, but I do reselling on whatever. I'm also part-time. So yeah.
Very good. Very good. Now on to Susan's story here. How's your story going there, Susan?
It's as complex as everybody else's. I had several things that Bill said resounded. Grew up a poor person with a big family, and went door to door selling the vegetables that we grew in our truck garden. From the little red wagon. I was out there at 5 years old selling melons. We had antiques in our house that we lived with and took care of every day. We would go to live auctions. I love old books. Bring it back to current times. I think reselling became a real passion. First of all, because I started watching YouTube videos about dumpster diving from Steve and Steph down in San Diego. And they really inspired me. And I went out and started finding things to make fountains and sell bird baths and fountains. So I've started sourcing that. In the middle of that, then I found Don and have learned everything I needed to know about how to really make this work, which is amazing. Thank you, Don. And I found that during the pandemic that sourcing and selling has created a wealth of connectivity with people that we were missing, because I live here with my cat and cut off from humanity, and that's not okay with me. So selling is good.
Selling is good. Selling is good. Travis, on to Travis. Now we'll get to hear it this time.
Yeah, the story's changed a little bit because I think Susan reminded me of something Marty and I were talking about the other night, in that we want to create some t-shirts that says everything I learned about reselling, I learned from Don and Dom. And so we were just going to sell them without your consent. There's no proof that we meant you, but that's my next big gig.
Yeah.
Okay now.
Yeah.
Now, I'll buy one.
Yeah. See, making money already.
Well, at least send him one.
Yeah, I'll send him one. Yeah. We'll make him a good deal. But that's part of it. I've heard both of them talk about, diversifying your income streams, because, income is not finite. And obviously a lot of people have dealt with that over the last several years. So that's fun. We do it. That is nice to have that little extra money. We've been able to use that money to invest in some land for our future. And, every time we sell a pillowcase or a bed sheet or whatever it is, a part of that goes right to that land payment, which is nice. But otherwise, love the thrill to hunt, like others mentioned. When something sells, especially something weird like Eric's pencil or something like that, it's this like little dopamine validation that you get, like, I was right. I knew that pencil was going to sell to somebody, and I feel really good about that. So that's fun. And then the other piece really is those kind of rare connections, whether it's via feedback or messages, where you reunite somebody with something from their past. And I love nostalgia. So I love being able to propagate that nostalgia back to somebody else. So that's the main thing.
Very good. Very good. I'll just real quickly here. I went to garage sales since I was 7. And no lie, my parents never had money. My mom was a night nurse, RN, charge nurse at a nursing home, watching people die. It was very depressing. I had to stay there sometimes when there was no babysitter. So my father worked after that at a military plant. He worked himself to death. He died when I was young. Parents never had money up until then, even. And then once my father died, it was way harder for my mom. So I don't mind buying anything used. I could care less if it's used or not. If it's nice, it looks good, I'm fine. I don't mind wearing used shirts and stuff like that. What gets me going too, like Bill said, when I was younger, I'll never forget this. We saw some George Washington items. I don't remember where it was at. I was really young. And they had it all behind glass and stuff. And the first time as a reseller, somebody who was much bigger than I was at the time, really big into military and stuff, pulled out a letter from George Washington ordering munitions of some sort. And he signed it. I mean, it was just this fabulous piece that I got to hold. And that was 25, 30 years ago. And I've been hooked on the idea with stuff like that, as well as after watching Indiana Jones, the first one. You feel like you're a treasure hunter sometimes, above and beyond what just reselling is. I mean, to hold something, somebody else in Patreon, Ben, found a War of 1812 commission for an officer. And, that something like that I would keep. I mean, I'm so fascinated by the history of it as well. George Washington letter, I'd have to keep it. I don't care what it would be worth, because it would be like one of those things you dream about. Maybe other kids might not, but I think about stuff like that, the history of where we came from and the country, and that we're still here is the good thing. I wouldn't get to dwell on that. That's my basic story. I know I've talked about stuff before. Now here's another one, which is all over the place right now. This is an easy one. It's a 2-part question. We're going to start with Bill again. How are sales is the first question. Again, you don't have to give out numbers. I just want to give an overall, because everybody now is either really having bad sales, or there doesn't seem to be a middle line right now with what's selling, what's not. And the next part is going to be, what do you do to fix those issues? What have you tried? Is there anything that you do see that works? Again, if once it gets to Eric, if you need the questions again, or anybody else, just please holler. But that's to you, Bill. First, sales, and then second, what do you do? What have you done, and what works to fix the issues if there is a dive in sales?
We are definitely off. We are off from even our 2019 numbers in this quarter. We're off about 14% from where we were in 2019. 2020, that's the wild card. Everybody loved it. What we have done.
So you're back to you've already, the pandemic increase was gone basically, and you're now down 14% from 2019. In other words, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And I'm seeing it not only in income, but I'm also seeing it in our traffic through eBay. So what we have done is that we have gone back to multi-platform representation. Not only eBay, we're eBay, Bonanza, Mercari, Etsy, Ruby Lane, Kings Lane, Shopify, Facebook Marketplace. A few years ago, we looked at what we had, and as much as I love this business, that's the key word. It is a business, and you have to treat it as such. And you have to run those numbers. You don't have a choice. And as we ran the numbers, I got worried that most of our revenue stream was coming from eBay. And I didn't like the direction that eBay was starting to go. So we started looking at all kinds of different things. And one of the things that we tried for a while was we were doing the live Facebook auctions. And I got to tell you guys, we never had so much fun doing those, but you were at the mercy of Facebook. You may be there one day and the next day you're in Facebook jail for 90 days. So we started looking, we re-examined every part of how we do business, what we sell. We diversified more of our items, and we started looking at online auctions. We thought that was going to be an up and coming thing. And we got more into that, and we got into doing the online auctions. We started with a couple of companies. We're in high bid now. We love high bid. They're great people to work with, and we'll continue to do that. It brings us some unique sourcing opportunities and things with the auction from there. How it's going to end up for us, I don't know. We'll probably always be selling on eBay, but at some point, it's going to be less than 50% of our income stream.
Let's hang on. We got somebody hacking this show here. Just a second.
Uh-oh.
Travis.
I'll tell you right now, if I get a cease and desist letter from Don, I'm going to save it.
It's gonna be your George Washington letter.
That's going to be it. I'm going to frame it. Say I did this.
Look, I think I had a Beavers and Monkeys locked up before I left.
Yeah. Hey, we'll hop on to. I'm sorry. We're
Get him, Don.
Yeah, it only lets me do so much at a time. This person's smart enough to know that he can get a second and third and a fourth account, and he's already got them.
Oh, IPT
Wow.
too. Oh, yeah.
I have no idea what that is. Never heard of it.
I have no idea.
We'll see him again in a minute here. I do have a rep these days I can call at YouTube, believe it or not.
I think someone mentioned if you put the chat to just subscribers, it would stop him at least. And
yeah, let me see.
Good ones, some other good people too, but
yeah, hang on. I don't know if I can do that once it's started. Don't know if I can do it once it's started. Yeah, I don't see the option here right now. Let's. I'm sorry. We already got to Eric, correct?
I'm not. We're on me.
Where are we at? I'm sorry.
it's Eric.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. That kind of distracted me there.
That's okay. Sales for me, I don't have anything to compare it to since I'm pretty new at this, but they've been fairly steady. I think last month I had a 2 weeks. A 2 week streak where I almost got no sales, and then I started to panic a little bit, and then it just all kicked back in again. I almost felt like I got put into eBay jail for a little bit for some reason. I don't even know why, but everything just went silent. For me, to help keep my sales up and keep my momentum up, what I'm doing is constantly listing, building my inventory, learning about what's selling and what's not selling, and then doing these things, trying to reach out to other resellers that are successful, listening and learning from them. I think, that's the biggest thing for any reseller, no matter where you're at in the game. You can always learn something from somebody else. So just listening and making connections with people to talk about challenges, talk about products, talk about sourcing, whatever. That's kind of what I do to hopefully help keep me sharp and overcome any obstacles that I may come across, as time moves on. So right now I don't have anything to compare it to. I'm happy with where the sales are. Obviously, I'd always like to have more sales. So trying to figure out ways to do that and go from there. So
hop down to Renee.
So my sales are up from last year, and I'm up probably about 30%. So, and what do I do to get it to go up? Well, I've been listing, obviously. I've been doing sell similar, very daily. And a lot of my listings, I only have a store of 1,150 items. And so I've been going through selling similar for my whole store for like once or twice a month. And also besides, I mean, I put some stuff on sale, but that doesn't really work for me. And the other thing I do is I raise prices. So, and that usually does what I wanted to do. So I get more money, and I don't know how, but I get more money than I was supposed to, or than I thought should have gotten. So yes, that works.
Very good. Very good. The price upping increase, believe it or not, does. We do 50 cents sometimes, or $1, $5 if it's a higher dollar. Maybe another month we might lower it 50 cents or raise it $1 even besides that. Believe it or not, sometimes you can add $10, $15 in the item sales. I never believed that when I first started off, but I tell you, it's true. It does work. I don't know if it's the effect it gives when the search results or what, but it does work.
Well, I had a brooch that I had listed for $350 I had it listed probably for 6 or 8 months. And I raised it to $600, and I ended up taking an offer for $500 for that brooch. It was a Kenneth J. Lane brooch. And, and there were the comps when I listed it were it had sold. Another one had sold that was similar for $350. So I thought for sure I was going to get only less. But anyway, so all's well that ends well. So
that's a good one for sure.
Yes.
Love vintage jewelry. It sells very well for us. Yes. Let's hop on to Susan now.
Good job, Renee, on that the price increase. Sales are steady for me. I started really adding stock to my listings in October, probably right. Somehow I didn't get caught in the October update problems, but I did go ahead and the one strategy that you gave as for doing sales, popping things in and out of sales in price reductions, that works to keep me wherever it puts me. That keeps my sales steady. I haven't had to do any of the sell similar, but I probably could and increase my sales, but I haven't had to do that. I've been able to maintain things the way I like them. Let's see, what else? How do I keep going? I've got a friend here who makes fine art cloisonne, and she's a big proponent of double your prices. And that here, I don't know if it's just here in the Bay Area, but I mean, there's plenty of money, certainly plenty of money up here in Marin, and they like to spend it, and I don't mind taking it.
Of course not. Of course not. Let's hop on to Travis here.
So I've been doing this a couple years. So this is, I guess, my first quarter. I've always been mixed when I hear, resellers talking about, slow sales or some problem on eBay or whatever. I've always felt like, there's a bit of like confirmation bias there, small sample size, perception. So I just kind of dismiss it. I'll be honest. And then it happened to me this month for a couple of weeks, and I found myself adrift because I was wondering what the heck I was doing wrong. Am I in eBay timeout like Eric was? All those kind of things. So I started having like come to Jesus meetings and stuff like that, and just trying to figure out what I was doing. I didn't take any kind of extreme methods, although I caught one of Don's, I don't know, it might have one of your shorts where you were talking about when someone makes an offer them back, like just a little bump. Yeah, you're going to take it, but offer the bump back and grab a couple extra bucks on the way in. So I have been doing that. But the other thing I did is I definitely have been taking more offers that I wouldn't normally take. Now, nothing crazy unless I've been holding on to the item for a long time. But I've been very much open to offers. And I have a question for you, Don. Although I knew you go out of stock on stuff, so most people don't get to see what a lot of your sales are. But I've always wondered, like if someone were to look at my feedback and they would see that 29 out of 32 ended in best offer. I mean, if they were to do that homework, they should send me an offer. Do you ever find that the savvy eBay buyers kind of can figure out like who takes offers and send that offer or what?
Well, in my personal opinion, the offer aspect, most people, they're either going to send you a lowball offer because they're a reseller trying to get some good deal and they know something that you don't, which I sell to people that know more than I do on some items. I don't care. But for the most part, if you've got offer, best offer on your listing, I don't think it's going to matter what. I don't think they're digging in unless they're trying to scoop you on some item that you got that you don't know about. I know I've sold, my biggest blunder in selling something, I had a tomahawk. And I'd never seen a real one before. And the handle, it felt like plastic almost. And the tomahawk, and it was a pipe, the type you'd smoke. The wife still remembers it. We should have kept it. And I sold it really cheap. And I took an offer on it. Wasn't thinking, the guy knew what he had. The thing turns out after he emailed me and got it, and he wasn't sure. He was honest. And it was like a $1,500 piece or more. I think we only sold it for a couple $100. And from that point on, I said, most of the time, if someone's going to do those offers or hit them up on stuff like that, they're either going to know it because they're trying to scoop you out, or they're just the type that always sends offers out. I don't think there's any in between groups in there. If that explains it, at least in my mind on that. Most everything I sell is an offer. Either I'm sending it to somebody or they're sending it to me. That's the majority of everything I sell, at least on eBay, I should say. Mm-hmm. But offers to watchers work, and offers coming in, those are the two best things. If you put a notice in there too, you can put it in the description box. Always open to big offers. I even see people along the same line you're talking about. We'll put in the title, always able, or give me your best offer, or we take offers, or something like that. People put those in the title too if you look enough. I've bought things from people on eBay like Weebles, and I do look at their feedback. I do look at how things were sold and what was sold and all that stuff, trying to figure out if I can garner maybe a better price, or they got 3 lots of something that the wife wants or something, and what can I do? Looking at their stuff like that, you can get a little bit of a sense on if you can make something off of the deal. I try not to buy too much off on eBay just because we've had some very bad purchases in the past, even Weeble wise. I've shown a couple where they've ruined the package or ruined the item and stuff. So anyway, that's just my take on it. Before I forget, thank you, Pat Dees, for the traveling picker, Pat Dees. I'm sorry, I don't want to miss that in there, for your $5 super chat. Much appreciated. Another fellow YouTuber as well here. Now, this is one that I always have to ask people when I'm usually in private conversation with those who have been a reseller for any length of time, really. The most challenging aspect of your business as a reseller, Bill. It's up to you, first shot here. The most challenging thing that, even if you haven't overcome it, or if you have, either way, if there is something that you've been able to get around, you're welcome to tell us what you did to get around it if you want, Bill.
Most challenging thing. What do you think? I don't know. Well, no, we can't. This is PG. No. All right, go. All right.
Yeah, adult. No adult content today.
Most challenging thing. I think sometimes the most challenging thing is me, and it's simply because sometimes you have to get out of your comfort zone. It's very easy to get into the rut in this business. On the different groups on Facebook and the chats, I keep hearing about people talking about Goodwill, the Goodwill bins, and they're ruining my bit. If that's your business plan, is you depend on the Goodwill bins, you need to rethink that business plan. We've dealt with shipping, labor shortages, box shortages, the crisis of the day. Although I will say, with help, and I just got a note from my senior diva in charge that she's watching, and she says that I'm looking way too grumpy here.
I hear that all the time.
We'll address that tomorrow in the employee relationship meeting tomorrow morning. But the things that you find challenging, you just have to address. And
Mhm.
mine, I think, is more me and not being stuck in that rut, being willing to go look, listen, find other things, learn new things. Um, we've sold a ton of Barbies. And if you had told me 20 years ago that I'd spend a week undressing Barbies with hands the size of dinner plates to look at their butts to get the dates off of them, I wouldn't have believed you then. So you
We
just
sell
have
them
to be
too.
willing to look past it.
Very, very good, Bill. Let's hop over to Eric now. Most challenging.
I think it's the easy part is the accounting and the inventory management. It's not my forte. It's not something that's exciting and fun, and it doesn't, doesn't boost that excitement that you like through the thrill of the hunt and connecting with customers. So all the back office stuff is really difficult for me. The second thing I think is work-life balance. I get stuck a lot into auctions at night and researching items and learning about the history of different things, and forget that my wife is sitting next to me. And being new at this, then it's even worse. I'm really trying to learn as much as I can, as quickly as I can, and I've got to remember that, hey, it's 6 o'clock. Let's make sure I have that work-life balance, and I put that aside and make sure my family's first. So I think that's one of the biggest challenges that I've quickly learned. In my previous job, once I left work, then it was done. I could shut it down and spend time with my family. But now everything is on me. So I have to make sure that I shut it down internally and be able to spend time with my family and my kids.
That's a big one. I'm terrible on that sometimes. Yes, I got you there. Renee, let's hear your most challenging.
Just one.
Oh, if you got a couple,
Okay.
you can do it on a couple.
Well, I think that the most challenging thing for me was my fear of underselling, the item. Like it was like paralyzing because I had to do, the research. I would do research and then, but I was so afraid if I that I'm going to list or lose money or whatever it is, because I'm in it for the money. So the and I actually I've been coming to terms with that, and I've been actually allowing myself. So if I make money, it's okay, whatever it is, even if it's not the same the same numbers that we see on your channel, Don, because that's my pressure. Yeah, that's a big thing. But so that's why and that's one thing. And another thing is being consistent. So, and I think that's key to success, because if you do it every day, then I guess, eBay sends you traffic and whatever. So I am working on being consistent, even if I list only a few items every single day. But yes, whatever I do is consistent and daily. And my other thing is inventory management. So, and that goes without saying, because yes, I live in an apartment. So I'm working on selling smaller items. So
smaller is better.
Well, oh, I'm sorry. That's why I thought I would start with jewelry, and yeah, jewelry is not as exciting to me as I thought. But whatever, we'll see. I haven't. I'm trying to niche down. That's my other big thing. Is I really would like a niche, but I have to find one that I so love that I can, commit to it.
Yeah, I like too many, actually. That's my problem. I like too much stuff, and I could sit here for hours looking at the stuff. There's nothing wrong with being in it for the money either. I don't want anybody thinking that, if you're passionate about what you're doing because it's getting you something, that's the end of the result. And there's a lot of people that, I love the history. I just love the history. I've been buying and selling I used to swap out 1978 Star Wars cards. I was 7 or 8 when that happened. So I've been doing this for a long time. I like that. I like the wheeling and dealing. So it's not that big thing. But with the pricing one, I hear that a lot. I've honestly heard that. I don't know how many times. I get emails in Patreon all the time just on that. I'm worried about losing some money on it. I've come to the conclusion, like in some categories, if it's a big, huge category, that the time it takes you to look up a couple hundred items, it's not worth it for the one single item that might sell for more. We don't worry about that anymore at all. It's time, it's assembly line process, getting as much up, and consistency does work. It like you can set your clock by what we do usually on one store or the other store, and that really does work. It helps the philosophy of eBay God giving you the opening up the faucet for you finally is what I guess they're doing. But anyway, very, very good. So let's hop to Susan now. Your most challenging.
How do I find that thing I just sold?
Uh-oh.
No, I know. I when I started, I have, see that big bright shelf back there? I have 4 of those in my apartment, and none of them fit in a little plastic box on a shelf. So I have been trying to source, real picture postcards and flat things and smaller things, and I even love buttons, but I have to go with what's readily available in my area, and mostly it's this beautiful stuff like that, colorful, pretty things. Now I like learning about everything, and I like those menus and things that you've seen me list, Don. I love looking up and see what boat was that, where was it in, which ocean was it sailing, and what day was it when they had this meal. I love a mystery, and unfortunately I get sucked into those. But my biggest challenge is well, I don't have any trouble knowing my inventory because I have to touch it all to find whatever I just sold. So
I just covered an article. I did an article for what's coming out soon, but for e-commerce bites, and the topic was literally that, because I was getting people that were telling me the same thing. They're doing stuff similar. They're not keeping track of everything, and then they ended up not being able to find stuff. I've done that myself. We didn't have numbers on. I didn't have any location numbers anywhere on any of our listings for. I think we had 2,000 listings when that happened, and I was livid. We had to go through like 1,200 postcards, trade cards, and then write a bin for. We stopped business just to do that because I was so frustrated after spending like 2 hours to find a $5 or $10 postcard. I was darn determined I was going to find it because I didn't want to say I didn't have it. I don't think I did find it at that point, if I'm not mistaken, too. So it happens. It happens to us all. That's a lesson.
You can't drop ship it.
No. Well, you can actually you could drop ship some things. I've drop shipped, to be honest, I've drop shipped some records on a couple occasions. I broke one once, and another one, it sold on a site and somebody didn't catch it when we weren't auto syncing before. And I found the same Bing Crosby on another site. It was on, I think I bought it off eBay. I sold the disc for $29.99. The last one, this happened a while ago. And I bought it for $5, that same disc on eBay. That same exact. I couldn't find it on eBay though. Looking on eBay, I had to go to Google because I'm like, "There's none on eBay. There can't be. This is like a known disc. Everybody, there's got to be some." And sure enough, from a Google search, I found that disc on eBay for $5, even though I couldn't find it on eBay for sale at all by looking on eBay, which really was like screwy. That's why I never look on eBay if I ever want anything these days. I just go straight to Chrome, which is sad.
Okay, so I guess my biggest challenge has been space, and then initially kind of like shipping efficiency. That kind of helped get taken care of by just niching, the items that we
whichever you want is fine. They're both technically appropriate. I looked it up.
Yeah, good. I'll use them both. So yeah, getting streamlined with what you sell definitely helped in that fashion. But we've invested. We've taken our profits from selling, and I think it's important, if you're serious about this, as soon as you can, to start investing in inventory management, better shelving, a Rollo printer. If you would have told me that, if I'd have looked at any Barbie's butts, it wasn't related to selling like Bill, but that's okay. But if you'd have told me that I would have spent as much money if I spent it at Uline, you'd have been crazy. I'm like, there's no way. But there we go. We reinvested into our business, into our operation by spending serious money at Uline to just make our whole process much more efficient and compact, and it's money well spent. We may not be able to source for a couple days after, a couple of those orders, but that's just the way it is. We take care of the long-term stuff by doing that. And just what Dawn just said about Google searches, I mean, for those listening, if you don't know it at this point, people are buying stuff off their phones and people are buying stuff through Google searches. The eBay app it's all fun and games.
It's like 40. It's up to 42% of some sales in certain categories are all off of a phone or something along that line from a Chrome search. 42% of your items in certain categories are only bought by someone with a phone or literally through a Chrome search. That's a fact. You can look it up. Even on eBay gives quotes like that in some categories.
And that's why it's so important for your SEO. If your SEO that you're putting in your descriptions for your eBay items through the eBay, listing tool, do not jive with Google recommended SEOs, they're going to get blocked at the Google level. And if people are searching for your items, 40% of them from Google, well, 40% of the people are not finding your items. So you need to go out there and educate yourself on the proper SEO from Google's perspective. And that's why eBay has done all these specific items, all these stupid little things that feel really annoying. It's to feed the Google machine. So that's why they exist. So you need to hop on the Google SEO and figure out the best way to title your items that Google likes.
That's true. Now, there's a report that I don't use, and what's it called on eBay? Listing quality report. The only thing, if you don't know your titles and stuff, look at that and see which ones aren't showing up on Google. I've got 2, and that's about it ever out of 30,000 on one store, and I don't know, 40 whatever on the other store, 40,000. If you look at the report, that's about the only thing you'd need to do. And it'll tell you which ones supposedly are the ones not showing up on Google. But the ones that they said that weren't showing up on ours, I actually found one of them on Google. So I don't know how accurate eBay is on that. But you have to have the correct titles. You have to have something that syncs. I think Google has a patent for truncating your titles and all this other stuff. So all your important words need to be to the left of your title. All the important words. Most people on a phone, I've watched people look for stuff. They'll scroll down. They'll just look at what they can see on the screen. They won't slide over. They're not going to click extra buttons. Sometimes they don't read the description or even the condition box. So a lot of that stuff has gotten to be not useless for the most part, but to some folks. So I like with the condition box, I put in like size and measurements now in the condition box because they'll at least see that even if they don't look at the description box. So, I mean, that's just some of the play. I'll give you my most challenging is I've got OCD, ADD, whatever you want to call it. If I start something, I can't quit it. And it drives the wife nuts because sometimes I'll be down working. I lose track of time. I'm like the absent-minded professor when it comes to stuff like that. And that's my biggest challenge is trying to cut myself off that if the computer's down or something's broken, I got a couple laptops I'm updating, I can't stop until that thing says ready to go. And that's just me. And it drives me nuts, but I can't. I'm locked into my thing. Sometimes the wife will come down. It's like 3:30 in the morning, and I'm just rolling away. The stereo's blaring and everything. I'm not even looking at the clock. And I had to buy myself a big clock. It's a big atomic clock up here, just so I would hopefully be able to get out of that. But that's my biggest challenge. It doesn't seem like work, and I'm so into it. It drives me nuts that I can't change the trajectory of my thoughts to get out of that mode, to quit and go up and do something. One more thing I'll say off topic, because I wanted to say this earlier. With those who are reselling, I like Sanford and Son. I don't know how many people remember that. I grew up watching that. The whole front of their store to me is what I'm used to seeing going to places when I first started out. And that's still something I even watch to this day, occasionally with the wife. That's reselling old school style to me. The beginning intro to Sanford and Son. In Orlando, when I first met the wife, Orlando shops looked just like that in Orange Avenue in Orlando, a huge strip, and that's like downtown old area of Orlando and stuff. That's reselling. That's what I still like. Those are the best places to find stuff at. Those type of places, the dives. He's got Lamont's got jadeite coffee mug. The wife's got the exact same one that she uses for coffee as well. So it's one of those weird things. And I'll look at shows like that, and I look at what's behind them and trying to figure out what everything is in the show. Drives me nuts, but that's what I do when I watch stuff like that. Sanford Son's one of the best ones out there because that's old school. That's how I grew up, going to places like that. Parents never had money.
Into one now, Don, you would be drooling.
Pardon me?
You walked into one like that today, you would be drooling.
I know where there's still one or two, but it's an hour away, and it's probably worth the trip. But there are a few of those places, very, very few. Small towns are always the best. Far away from any big city, the chances of stuff like that are better. The best records, the best deal I ever found on, say, 78 was in some really dink town. An hour from here, there was no big town around. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's in farm country, and it's the best one for old vintage records. I mean, I found Globe records. Probably nobody knows what I'm talking about, but I found some Globes, and I've never seen them in my life. I had to look them up. And I mean, just a common one of these discs was like $150 the day we found it. Just a common junker that had nothing on it. So anyway, we made a lot of money, but those are the places I love. I love those junk stores like Sanford and Son, the old school style stuff. That's what I know when I was a kid. That's what I went to with my parents. They did what they could to pay the bills. And, you know, my mom only, as I said, worked a couple days just so we would have a parent around the house. My father worked some god awful hours. So anyway, let's go on to another question here. I think I got everybody. We got Travis, right? I didn't cut anybody off here. I know I yap and I lose track sometimes. So that's just me. Now, here's another good one here that I hear a lot from folks here. I talk about stuff that most people aren't aware of, or stuff that a lot of people don't think it's out there. It is, because I wouldn't have it if it wasn't. But biggest learning curve. What is your biggest learning curve? And did you give up on it, or did you just say, I'm going to spend the time and get into it, I guess is the biggest thing. Like for me, buttons was a major learning curve 25 years ago when I started into buttons. But I invested like 2 years of my life, not just doing that, but digging in and figuring out everything I could find out. And that's how I learned something. For you, we'll start with Bill again. We'll go around the circle. So Bill, what was your biggest learning curve? It doesn't have to be items. It could be running eBay. It could be anything. What was your biggest learning curve as a reseller?
Shipping.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Hey, how hard can it be? You go dumpster dive. They give you the boxes for free. And then, you know, you just put your stuff in there and send it away. You know, that's not hard. Oh, no. It was a stiff learning curve with me shipping. And because we're not afraid to ship anything, I have shipped and sold rock crusher wheels. These are steam operated machines that were used in the late 1800s on forged iron wheels. The wheels they were 86 inches in diameter, 16-inch wide rims, and tipped the scales at 1,100 pounds apiece.
Holy cow.
And I shipped 2 of those to Austin, Texas from the mid-Atlantic to a coffee shop down there that had about 15 or 20 local stores, and they used them for counterweights on a human-powered coffee roaster.
Well, that I'd have to see. That sounds interesting.
It was a great deal. He was happy he got them. We got them crated. We were able to get the shipping set up, but we
you have a pallet jack, I take it?
We used a farm loader to put the crate on there, and I finished the crate building on the trailer. We used Fastenal. If anybody ever ships big, large stuff, they offer shipping. The same as U-Ship, and there's a few other lines out there. And when the guy went to take it off with his forklift, he actually blew his line.
Because of the weight?
It there. Everybody was happy. I got 3 pounds of really good coffee beans out of it. And the people from my end that are listening, they know that I have a coffee fetish and need a 12-step program.
That sounds like the wife. Yeah, that's my wife.
But the amount that goes into shipping, but it's one of those things that you get some satisfaction out of now, because I wouldn't say I mastered that curve, but we're able to move and pack product quickly. And on the auction side of our business, the online, we market that auction worldwide. And when we end an auction on a Tuesday night, we come in early in the morning. It's an all hands evolution. And by 2 or 3 o'clock, we've packed a 300 item auction and invoiced it out. And if they've paid, the labels are on them, and we load trucks with boxes to ship out. And that's only because we've learned how to ship, how to pack, and we continuously look at that. I have a air pillow machine. I paid a ton of money for it to make my own, and the bubble wrap. I bought an older gentleman a pizza and a 6-pack of beer, and he taught me how he learned packing in a department store in the 40s using paper. And we packed more varied items using rolls of shipping paper than we use bubble wrap or air pillows or Instafoam bags or any of the rest of the stuff. And we don't, all right, knock on wood, we haven't had a breakage problem in a long time.
I use paper mostly too, so yeah, I agree on that one for sure. Eric?
Yeah, I agree with Bill. I think shipping is probably one of the biggest learning curves that I'm still working around. I don't sell anything super large. I try to stay away from anything that causes me stress just thinking about trying to ship. The second one was category. Deciding what categories.
Whatever your biggest learning curve. It doesn't have to be. It could be anything specific. Just in overall your business, what was the hardest for you to learn? What took you the most to get over, I guess, is the point.
Yeah, it's definitely the shipping piece still. I'm still learning it. And then what categories I don't want to be in as well. I think that's one of the biggest ones. Like I started out selling women's shoes and women's clothing, and then I decided, oh my gosh, this is way too much. Too many questions. Yeah, too much stuff that I need to know. I didn't know that there was 12 different types of heels. I didn't want to learn all of that stuff. So one of my biggest learning curves was figuring out which categories to stay away from and which categories I'm enjoying, and then learning how to ship it. But yeah, it's all of it really. Just jumping into a small business mentality is probably one of the overall the biggest learning curves, because you're responsible for everything. So
on to Renee.
Well, I want to agree with the shipping, because it was a big challenge at the beginning, but now I feel like I've got it under control. Like I know, I mean, I can look at something, I know exactly how I'm going to ship it. So it's not a challenge anymore. And but I'm actually quite concerned about the new price hike at the USPS, and I can't wait to see, Don, your next video. I'm sure that's coming up about it, to how to avoid it. And I don't know. And the other thing was to really to figure out how to make a good listing, like putting in the right item specifics. I know we talked about that in terms of Google, but like learning the names of the types of sleeves on a garment is something that, like I had some knowledge about it, but really, and I didn't know the names of all the clasps, or, there was just so many details that need to be learned. And yeah, so those are my challenges.
Good, very good. On to Susan.
I'm currently challenging myself to find sources for antique paper in the Bay Area. I haven't done very well at that, except going to estate sales and always asking at the estate sales, like you suggest, like, what do you got that nobody wants? basically. And that works out well. And they like you say, they like having somebody to take that off their hands so they don't have to do anything with it. That's starting to work for me. The other challenge that I am currently addressing is learning Shopify, because I'd really love to have a better platform that will just feed eBay for me.
Very good. Very good. Travis?
Definitely we'll add on to the shipping there. It takes a lot of time, and it's always something new to learn with that. I'm going to go with, however, building a good balance for customer service. I remember some of my when you go into the selling, you start selling stuff. You're like, hey, look, I'm making money. I'm right. I'm so good at picking items. Look at me. And then you realize that there's real people on the end of those transactions. And sometimes they give you feedback and critiques and criticisms, especially when you start. And you're like, oh, so that definitely raised the anxiety level, which could then turn into like longer stress about the fear. I'm like, and you start getting like imposter syndrome. Like, what am I doing selling these items? I shouldn't be selling this lady's outfit, Eric. And I don't, because I don't know anything about it. But yeah, I mean, I've listed high-end items for high-end money, and I struggle with that imposter syndrome. Like, who are you to be listing something like this? So I think it's kind of been a mental kind of journey over the last 2 years of like just coming to terms and accepting my role in the transaction of business. And so that's something you have to invest in, so that you're not stressed out about a return or a bad review, and that you can just roll with it and learn from it. So that I would say is my biggest challenge and journey. But like how Susan's trying to grab a new niche to work on and throw herself into, I definitely want to get into fine art. I see these vases or glassware or pictures and stuff like that, paintings, and I just know that they have perceived value to somebody. So I'm learning and challenging myself to just learn more about different types of fine art, so that I can sell less items but bigger items.
I can give you a note about some of these. There, first of all, I have an inside source for determining value. One of my friends is a conservator at a local museum, a lifelong conservator. So I got somebody who can take a look at stuff and tell me, what's real, what's
Nice.
not. But the other thing is, most of these items back here will either be turned into fountains, fancy high-end fountains for people's backyards or patios, or sold locally. And those will also be sold locally, not shipped, because packing is great. But I don't know, Don, if you'll remember those bubble glass bowls, those art glass bowls that I had. I sold those to somebody on the East Coast, and I packed those as well as I could, and one of them broke. So I gave them a partial refund, but they were still delighted to have the bowls, but they still broke. So
yeah, I always hated that.
Yeah, I target local sales for the high-end pretties. I really do.
For me, I'm surprised that it was shipping for everybody, but then I had to think I've been doing shipping for 25, 30 years. So I guess maybe when I was first starting, shipping was an issue. I can't even remember all the shipping back in those days. It was totally different than it is today. My biggest personal thing I had to get over was the fact that I didn't think you could make a full-time living as a reseller. I thought, how the heck could you ever do that? Until we had to do it, then that's when we figured out, yeah, you can do it. But I could have done it 20 years before I did, and who knows where I would have been. But, that was my biggest hurdle, was just believing you could actually do this as a full-time business to begin with. I never thought it was possible. I blew it off. I laughed at people. There's no way you're going to do this full-time. But, I've done this now for going on, 14 years full-time. So it's out there. The chances are out there, definitely. Shipping, shipping is challenging, I will say. So I get the shipping aspect of it. So I mean, that is something that I do hear a lot of issues. You pack something wrong, you don't understand. I know the first 78 that I personally sent, I didn't realize how fragile they were, and I sent it flat like an LP, and it was broken probably before it even left the house. And I learned right off the bat, and I got a real nasty message on that one, and that's been 20 some odd years by now. But you only make those mistakes once, hopefully, and you move on from there. Before I go any farther, I always forget to say, please hit the thumbs up. We're right at the 100 mark almost here. We got 259 people in-house. So if you're enjoying the conversation, we've got some very fine folks in-house today. A lot of experience, a lot of knowledge given out. So please hit that thumbs up. Love to get to that 100+ mark as soon as possible. Or show some love for the channel if you would. Now let's move on to something that I've talked about many, many times, something that everybody I think may have a little different view on, but it usually comes back, for me at least, to efficiency. The most important thing you learned so far as a reseller, what's the most important thing that has helped you more than anything else as a reseller? And we're going to give that one to Bill right off the bat here and not give him any chance to think about that.
That one's easy. To take a moment and take a break. Sometimes we get so wrapped up in the process of what we're doing, and we get fourth quarter, eBay does eBay. And I spent an afternoon peed off. And I basically said, you know what? I can't control this. We're going to take a couple minutes here and work on what we do have control over. And you find that the people that work for you, they key off of how you do things and get worried about it. But I mean, sometimes you just have to step back and take a moment, take a deep breath, look at what you're doing, and not take yourself too serious sometimes.
I'm guilty on some of that, so I can't say much
Well,
on
I got a
that.
monkey. See? Some people, I have a monkey. What?
I have one of those.
You got TV time here. I don't want to go.
The wife's got a few sock monkeys, so I can't say much about that one either. Eric, I guess you don't have any sock monkeys over there today, do you?
No, I do not.
Would you
For me,
pick one?
I guess I would reflect on something that Travis had mentioned, is just remembering, always keeping in mind that there's a customer on the other end. So when I'm packaging something up, I want that experience to be something when they open it. So I do what I can to make it and protect that item. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's a bullet pencil or a piece of porcelain or a jacket. I wrap it up in so that when they open it, it's an experience that they want, that they can look and say, hey, this person really does care, and they'll be back. So yeah, it's always remembering that the customer is first, and there's going to be scammers out there. They're 1 out of every 1,000. It's not. I don't worry about those. Most of the people that purchase stuff are real people that their general interest is to buy something. So just keeping that in mind.
Very true, very true. The scammer amount is very minuscule compared to the good buyers in my book.
Yep.
At least that's my personal experience.
Yeah.
They're out there. We all have been taken, but for the most part, everything's good about that. Now we're down to Renee.
YouTube University. That has been my. I have been sitting in the classroom for the past 2 years, and I have learned a lot. And so I can't thank all of the YouTubers enough, the content creators, because I did not know a thing, and I now I feel confident. Or more confident going into a sale and picking out the right things that sell and that are making my family money. So
Very good, very good.
Sounds like you need a shirt.
Okay, now with the shirts. Okay, Susan.
Well, I should have worn my Oxen Professor shirt, but I'm sure it's in the wash somewhere. What I have learned amazingly, and I think this is probably regional again, is my awareness of what people here will throw away. Now, I'm not trying to do all the curb alerts anymore. I've got limited gas mileage on my car, but and I don't have a truck. It's just me. I can't schlep everything, but you can around here. People, I mean, we're talking about Tiburon and Belvedere down here, just down the road. Even going to garage sales, you get like a brand new stuff in the box for $5. It's worth $300. And that's not dumpster diving. That's just trade with people, and the people who have so much stuff that they want you to sell it for them. They'll just give it to you. Please just sell this. I'm getting rid of backstock. Like I said, probably have an auction. Because I have more stuff ready to avalanche onto me. Now, I don't know if that means that, the higher powers are trying to get me to become an auction person. I don't know, but I mean, it's going to be difficult because I'm starting a new job on April 4th someplace else. So, it's boggling my mind what is available for us, for anybody to reach out and find, and the connections you can make with people. I mean, one of my auction ladies is just started talking to me about, well, let's talk about wine brokering, because they get wine at these estate sales that nobody wants. And I was like, if you know what you're looking at, you're going to get some good bottles. So we're looking into that too, and a liquor license. So
there we go. We're back. By that, we're trained professional.
Stop that.
I don't know, Bill.
Maybe Bill was brokering some wine just now.
Yeah, wine though. Wine is honestly something. Wine and champagne bottles. We've run into some that were like 100 years old. At a sale. Now, some stuff we have somebody who has a license, so I don't have to worry about selling and all that stuff. But those stuff go great at auctions. I'm telling you, a vintage bottle of wine at an auction. If somebody who's a wine aficionado, I love wine. So if somebody's a wine aficionado, man, the prices. I've never seen so much crazy auctions other than when we went to and seen some wine being auctioned off. Again, it was really vintage.
They're very passionate.
Oh, right. Oh man, I can't tell you enough. Like I occasionally, sometimes I'll have in the background Shark Tank, and Mr. Wonderful is a big wine guy, and he blows. I mean, he's way off into the wine, way beyond anything like me. But I'm just fascinated by the amount of wine that sells in the country, and the Costco is the number one, Sam's Club is the number one wine seller in the entire planet, basically, and all that. The whole wine aspect. I mean, I had a liquor license. I used to run establishments that we sold wine by the bottle. So I like that kind of stuff. That's always interesting. I do know somebody who makes a living just selling wholesale wine, not vintage. But I mean, that's all they do. That's all they're like a broker for wine.
Yeah.
They get it delivered. They divvy it out to local establishments, and that's all they do. That's their whole business. A truck shows up, and then a truck shows up later on and then takes it out. That's it. I mean, they're just like a leeway spot temporarily for it, which is really amazing.
Good to me.
Yeah, I wish I could find something that good around here, but everybody's already into it already, and not much room left for me. Like tools around here, I can't get tools. Every old timer around here is I wouldn't want to get shot over a tool. It's almost that bad around here. They're just grabbing and pushing and shoving. I don't even go to the sales when they say tools.
Wow.
But we'll hop that over to Travis now. Let's hear Travis's view on that.
I think what I just learned is I want to figure out how to get a truck of wine to come to my house. I don't even remember the question because all this talk has got me excited.
Most important thing you learned so far.
Oh, that was what I learned so far tonight. Prior to the wine truck coming to the house tonight, I like what Renee said. She's got YouTube University, and that's nowhere better place than all the stuff that I've learned just watching you, Dawn. It's insane the kind of knowledge you got and the passion and you have for each one of those things. It's invigorating. I don't go and then go, hey, I'm going to go get into buttons or whatever. But it's not just you. It's anybody that's on one of these YouTubes that are passionate about the item and they've got some knowledge about it, just seeing that someone has invested kind of that effort and joy into an item, it makes me want to do that. So yeah, YouTube University, just like Renee said, I'm totally stealing her answer.
I guess we'll let you get away with that. With items and stuff, with the stuff, I like the stuff that I sell. I honestly do. Several clothing sellers in here, women's shoes or not. I sold women's clothing. We sold anything that was clothing was one of the first things that we got into because it was easy. I hated it. I hated every minute of it, every single day. I hated the measurements. I hated taking 6-8 photos for a shirt or so. I hated all of it. And when it wasn't fun, I didn't want to do it anymore. So we just literally gave it up. We did a pros and cons, but like with buttons or something, I've been selling buttons for years, so it's not like something new, but something like that, I'm passionate enough that I spent so much time, and most of the people that I know that are good in certain areas or they have all these niches, they did the same thing. They bit the bullet. They didn't mind investing the time. And maybe it took them a year or two to figure out everything. It took me a couple of years to know everything about buttons, at least enough to play with the big wheels and do the button shows. I'm a member of the National Button Society and the local one, all that stuff. So all that stuff takes time to know. And if you're the type of person who doesn't mind putting in the time, I mean, you can go anywhere with those items. You'll figure out where to get them. If I want to find something and I want to sell something, chances are there's a place to find it. And that goes for anything, almost any place I lived. I've lived all over the country, all the way to the West Coast, all the way up to New England, all the way down to Florida. We worked in Texas for 6 weeks. Everywhere I've been able to find the same stuff I sell now. I don't know if that's just because it's in my blood and I know where to go right off the bat. But once you've done something enough, you invest that initial time. I mean, it's all gravy from there. If you're invested in a couple niches, to get a couple new ones after you know those, it's a piece of cake because you already know that there's going to be a learning curve. You're not going to get frustrated because you know eventually you'll get it. If it's old, it's vintage. They only made so much of them. So once you learned what's already out there, there's nothing else to, it's not like they're making new 1890s this or that, and it's not like they're making new postcards in 1910 still. It doesn't, it's all confined. You've got a limited amount of information you have to know, and once you get it, I mean, it's gravy. That's what I learned. I sunk the time into it and said, yeah, I'm just gonna bite the bullet now. Later on, it's gonna pay off. And we sell $2,500 in buttons profit every single month now. Every single month in, month out, $2,500 worth of buttons profit, take home. That's my money out of that. And you told me 2 years ago I was going to do that, I'd be like, how the heck am I ever going to do that? But just like people selling artwork or whatever you may be selling, or Auction Monkey, I mean, wherever you start at, you zoom in and you figure that stuff out and you go from there. I mean, you do what works good for you, what you're good at. Once you figure that out, you move on to something else. I mean, that's the biggest takeaway on that. One other thing I want to throw out here, and a lot of people mix this up, and it kind of borders on a few of the other comments other folks made here. Don't ever take this personal. If something's done at eBay, they're not doing it to you. If someone is ripping you off, they're not doing it to you personally. 99.999% of the time, they think they're ripping off eBay. eBay's going to handle it. It's no big deal. It's just eBay. So I never try and take those personally at all. And that's a lot of people have a problem with that. And I know for sure because people leave nasty comments when I say stuff like that. And you've got business and you've got pleasure. Don't mix them up. I know Bill has his family there too. I have family while we're working. Eric, he's got other half there too that does it. So, we're working with our family. I've worked with my wife for years, so we get along. We're best buddies. We're friends. The kids, the same thing. So that's a different story. You just got to not take it personally as the biggest thing on that. Don't think it's somebody attacking you. Don't think eBay's out to get you. It's a policy. It's not everything done at eBay is based on a policy, a statement, a change, the user agreement. Nothing says, hey, Don needs to get screwed over today, so we're gonna sink his sales October 12th. That has nothing to do with anybody else.
Are you sure? Because it sounded like you said that.
I don't know about that.
Well, that's
they
how
might have come after you.
That's how they do it, though. It's not. They're not attacking me. I'm just a number there. I'm seller number 4,000 or 400,000, whatever it is. We're just numbers. So I don't try to take anything personal. I learned that running restaurants and establishments with 100+ people underneath me, and everybody takes things personally. If I fire somebody, if I reprimand somebody in the past, I'd have windows bashed out. I'd have something stuck in my tire, or things like that happen. And again, it's you're mixing up personal with business, and that's a huge mistake right off the bat. Just like if you're at an auction. I know we talked about auctions briefly here with Bill, of course. If you're at an auction and I'm trying to buy something, I draw a line. If it goes over this by $1, I am not bidding on it at all. And that's another thing where people lose out. That they get emotionally attached, or they get too much into it with the auction craze, that they bid it up and they pay too much. That's one of those things that those folks who go to auctions got to learn really quick. Otherwise, you're going to overpay and you're going to end up screwing yourself over when you go to resell the items. So anyway, that's it on that one here. Now, everybody asks, where do you source? Where's the best place to source? Now, that's the question here to Bill. Now, we're not telling you to, hey, give me John's auction house down the street from you. Where do you feel your time is best spent sourcing at that gives you the biggest return on your investment? It doesn't matter what it is. We're not looking for specifics. I don't want any secrets. I just overall your concept of what gives you the best results.
Well, our sourcing has changed over the years. How I sourced 10 years ago has changed to how I source now. Used to be I would go to auctions. My dad and I would do this together, and it was a cool thing to do. And I would meet people at auctions, and I got some of my best leads from live in-person auctions, where I met somebody and they invited me to come out and look at what they had, and bought things from there and formed long-term business relationships. Now with the auction, we have a lot more stuff that comes to us. I used to do a lot of travel. I used to go to a lot of auctions. I'd go to a lot of the states, anything. I'd knocked on a bunch of doors. Now there's a lot more coming to me with cool stuff. I have a gentleman. I get first pick of all of his stuff because I gave him a fair price on a bent airplane propeller, and he was by today. He's quite the character. Uncle Jimmy, well, I know he's not watching tonight, but we love him dearly, and he shows up with the coolest stuff, and I will we'll talk. I'll put him into something else. Last week we talked about Coleman lanterns, and he was amazed at what they brought. When he was by today, we talked about trucker hats. My advice to the people that are listening right now, I source a lot from online auctions that I look at. Not all of them are the same. You have to read the descriptions, ask questions of the auctioneers if they ship in-house or they use third party. The new people that are starting up with the online auctions, there's some great deals to be had there. Susan was looking for a place to source old paper. So if I was in the shop, I'd show you. You'd drool. I bought 30 pounds of old paper. I paid $5, $8 to have it shipped to me, and I'm $200-300 into it right now. And it came almost out by you. It came from Nevada.
Great.
So I mean, those are the parts. I know people line up at estate sales now, and I'm not standing in line anymore. I weigh the pros and cons. There was a big local auction here last weekend. I walked it the day before. I would have loved to have spent the day there seeing some old friends, but Adulting sucks. And I ended up working the shop on Saturday, working on the auction and other stuff coming up because that was a better use of my time for that day.
Yeah, I don't wait in lines. I don't go to any of that stuff anymore either. Usually my first picker came from a local live auction that I went to buy some stuff, and we ended up talking just like you said. He's been a picker for me for like 13 years. I mean, that's how long I've known this guy. That's just one of them. And the local live auctions have been great for us. And I even sell my stuff. We'll buy something at an auction and turn around and go right back there after we pick out what we wanted. Easy money that way. Eric, we're on to you now.
Right now, I focus primarily on estate sales. There's plenty of them around. Online auctions as well. I tackle those a lot. And I learned quickly that you draw that line with that auction price. This is what I'm going to pay, and that's it. And I don't even look at it. I put my max bid in there, and I don't even look at it. If it wins, it wins. It's fine. I try not to do estate sales on the first day either, because I hate the lines. Most of the stuff is overpriced at that point anyway. And most of the treasures and the hidden gems are going to be on your second, third days anyway. I found so many great things in the last day. I found first, second, third, and fifth first edition, first prints of the Dune series books, hardback, on the last day of an estate sale. I picked them up for $1.25. Wow. I mean, it was a fantastic.
Nice time to have them.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's little things like that. And like today, I went out to 2 estate sales and just cleaned up. I just found so much great stuff. And it's not the first day, it's the second day. So it's second day, third day, estate sales, online auctions, and relates working on building those relationships, just like Bill has, just like you have done, is building those relationships for the future is really what I'm working on right now. So
I've got friends that, that's literally, I can talk to some people every single day of the week about stuff like this. And for the past 10, 15 years from people that I've met at places like this. Now, it's not always like that, but anyway, totally agree. Now on to Renee.
I actually look for lots from like meetup sites like Facebook or, other things. And I've been very successful. Picking those up, but I never have any issue finding inventory. That's not my issue. So I can find it anywhere. So, but I like to be the last one at the estate sales that I go to. I do a lot of online auctions and, obviously in thrift stores and friends, whatever.
The last day of an estate sale was usually the best because I could get tons of stuff for almost nothing. They just wanted to get rid of it. Take the whole table. Whatever's in the garage, it's all yours. So I always was fine with going the last day because I don't like to fight it around here. There's so many rude people, and I'm more mild-mannered. If somebody else gets it, I'm not going to throw a hissy fit, and I'm not going to. Again, it's not. This is a business, and they want to be an a-hole, pardon me, but like that when we're at a place and they want to grab stuff, let them do it. I'm just going to go somewhere else. It's not worth the headache or the hassle for me. I completely agree with that. 100%.
So can I just add one more thing?
Sure.
I totally forgot. My biggest sale came from something I found at the garbage. And
what was that?
It was 2 crates of leather bound, like Easton Press books about the presidents. And I sold one. I listed for it 2 days later. It sold for $1,000. It was a 7-volume set about George Washington.
I know exactly which one you're talking about. I've seen that book set before.
So, and that was it was totally a game changer for me. So, whatever it is. And I've sold other books that were in that crate. So yes, it was that was a big rush, but but at the garbage, and I'm very grateful for that.
We've been lucky, but not like that. I've been lucky with them throwing out thousands of 78 records because they had no idea what to do with it. Once before a recycling place didn't know what to do with them. They can't recycle them, and they called us, and I walked up on the biggest assortment of 78 records I've ever seen, and they just wanted them out of there. Those are free. Wow. It was a big ordeal. It took 2 trips in the van, which is a lot. It's a lot of weight. And anyway, it was a lot of money, but not like that. I'd rather had just a couple items that I could sell for a lot of money instead of a whole bunch of, $50 items where you got to be careful with them and stack them right and all that stuff.
I had no idea that they were valuable. I figured, okay, $20, but not when I listed them, that was a big shock.
How many times a week do you visit that garbage now?
Well, it's only down. It's from my building. It was not. It wasn't. I didn't have to go anywhere. It was
better yet.
Yes, it was amazing. So whatever
You
it
just
is.
don't want to give up your sourcing tip, right? I mean, you don't want
Well, it was a one-time thing. It was not. This is not a consistent way. But my lots. I buy lots, and those have been very good.
Very
Anyway.
good. Very good. That's a good one. Susan.
Yeah, I think my T-shirt's gonna have to say "free is great." I've sold so many things that I found over by the dumpster here at my apartment complex that people have just put it out there, and I was like, really, really? Um, um, what's the actual question we're supposed to be answering?
Best place to source for
Oh,
you. Where have you done the best at? Where's your time spent best at?
final days of live estate sales. Just filling my car and sending somebody a Venmo. That works great for me.
Very good.
Online auctions are great, but I spend too much because I see and I get hooked. I want to win. I'm sorry, I want to win, but free is better.
Free is definitely better. I don't get enough free stuff these days, but it does happen occasionally. Definitely so. On to Travis.
Well, I like being last this time because I get to hear all the answers and just choose the one that I liked best. And so Eric's answer, I feel like everything he said, online auctions, and the way he described it, it's probably our most lucrative thing. Yesterday, we thought we had bought 300 fantasy novels that were, just regular fantasy novels, probably been read 100 times, maybe 300 of them. When I got there to pick it up, it turned out to be 1,500 fantasy novels for $200. They were 99% brand new. They're all from the 70s and 80s and 90s.
Stuff and Ace.
Complete sets of authors, just insane. So, yeah, sometimes you get lucky on that. I'll tell you what, the one downside with the online auctions is when I'm bidding, never do I ever remember to factor in that 15 or 17% auction fee. So I always spend a little bit too much. So somebody in the chat room is going to go with me to a real auction. And they're going to help me not spend too much. But I would really love to go to an auction and do that stuff because I see you guys talking about it all the time. Yeah.
Oh, we can do that, Travis. There's one on Sundays here in Denver. So.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to go up there and I'll try not to bid against you.
Well, yeah. I've never done a
There are no friends at an auction.
Actually, I'm just going to go look through the trash at the auction house afterward and not spend any money. No, actually, the best return on investment, and because my wife just showed up with a coffee, is doing anything like an estate sale or garage sales with my wife because it's just so fun. And that's the best return on investment I can get.
Here.
Yeah, we do a lot together. So yeah, I fully agree. The wife thing, again, me and the wife are like best buddies. We're friends. We've been that way forever. It used to drive our friends crazy. It was like well, I was gonna say a Seinfeld reference, but I don't want to go there. But I get you on that one for sure. Me and my wife worked together, and like I was the boss, and she was under me even at places I worked. So I guess it's the plus of being in charge of a region at that point. But yeah, I agree. The wife time's always great. I love that my kids don't mind used stuff. So that always works well for us. We've been talking and I haven't really been paying attention to the time. We're going to end it here in just a minute because we're already at the hour and a half mark and I usually don't go past that. Maybe in the future I'll think about that, but I didn't want to hold everybody up all night long here. Very good conversation. It looks like we're getting some good traction, good feedback. Got a lot other than a few trolls on here. It looks like other than that, it's been very good. Lots of continuous views on here. Excuse me for just a second here. We'll go around just one more time. We'll let everybody give a final thought. They can do a little call out to what they do, their site or whatever they want. I would recommend checking out some of the links I have in the description box for those folks who are in-house tonight with us here. Bill, Eric, Travis, Susan, and Renee. So you're welcome to check out their links down in the description box as well. Again, they're spending their time here. This isn't something that they normally do. So trying to give you some good information. Everybody has been very gracious to give their time to the show for us too. So please show some love for the channel with the thumbs up, which is the bare bones minimum I expect everybody to do if you're enjoying the conversation. Now we're going to give it off to Bill here for a second if he's got some final thoughts or anything else he'd like to head in there before we wrap this up.
There's a lot of people on the channel, a lot of people listen. There's a lot of questions. I'm certain that people that have you got my links down below. It's got my contact info. I can talk about this business for hours and hours. It's fascinating. Feel free to reach out. I'm very accessible. I'm easy to reach. Just give me a call, drop me an email. You can come check us out. We're go to Auction Monkey on Facebook, follow along. You can see all the divas. There's a couple of YouTube videos that we have up under Auction Monkey. Get to meet some of the divas and see the fun that we have and follow along from there on some of our adventures and travels.
Eric?
Yeah, I would just say my advice in the short time I've been doing this is if you see something that you want to learn about, just pick it up. I picked up 5,000 matchbooks in an online auction and didn't know anything about them and just said, well, let's just dive in, and just learned a lot, and it's paid me back several times over. Still have about 4,000 matches to get rid of, but that's all it's about. Just get it and start researching and start learning, start asking questions. And you'll find that those things that you don't think that you would ever buy are the things that you want to buy. So.
Very good. Very good. Renee? You got your mic off.
Oh, thank you, Don, so much for having me on your show. I had this definitely challenged me in new ways. I'm not usually one to do this kind of thing. But I love reselling so much, and it's done a lot for my family. And so and because I enjoy it so much, I just wanted to do it. And I just wanted to leave with one piece of advice I would tell people is make sure you check comps before you buy something. So
100%.
Sold comps.
Okay.
Yes.
Sold comps. Oh, absolutely. And the sell-through rate and, but whatever it is. So that's my one piece.
Definitely. Straight on that one. Susan.
I would like to emphasize gratitude for the ability to just, start a new way to support oneself. We couldn't do that without the internet. We hope we still have an internet coming up. YouTube's such a phenomenal tool for learning anything you want to learn, and especially on Don's channel.
You don't have to go there, but thank you.
Well, but it's true. And that's why you have so many passionate followers, because you're a passionate guy. And I think we're all extremely grateful for your leadership on that.
Well, thank you. Travis?
I guess I would, again, I'll just echo what everybody said. They're very smart folks on this show you got here, Don. I think not overdoing it and accepting that, take the time to get into something. Don't be afraid to, if you find a bulk lot of a particular type of item and it interests you, don't be afraid to jump into it. If it's $50 or $100 and that's the cost to become an expert on a type of item, whether it's, sheet music, you're going to learn a lot. Yeah, you're going to have to look for other resources on the internet, especially on YouTube. But it's so rewarding to learn something about some item you never thought you would ever even touch, let alone purchase. So I really enjoy picking up a lot of items that I don't know about, but looks like it might be fun, and just learning about it. So don't be afraid to jump in every once in a while and pick up a big chunk of the similar item.
I agree there too. Some of our better buys were ones back in the day that I said, well, for the price, I'll take a chance. If worst case scenario, it's a learning lesson. If I've spent $50 on a huge lot of something, and it's fun going through stuff. I like looking at stuff. So when people send me images or something, I like looking at it. I learn stuff from all types of people, even folks who've just been on eBay for a month or two. I've learned some oddball things that I would have never expected from someone that new to the business. So you never know what you're going to learn out there. On Renee with the videos, I thought about doing videos on YouTube for a year. That's how nervous I didn't want to do it, because I'm like, the days of me being out in public, and I used to be an altar boy for many years, and it took a while to get used to standing in front of this. Our church was a big church. So in standing in front of 1,000 people, and you mess up, you do something stupid. I always was self-conscious. I was picked on as a kid. So for me, it was a big ordeal. So it took me a year of knowing that people did YouTube videos on reselling to actually do a video. And it's not available anymore. I took my first video down because it was just awful. But anyway, that's where it started at. But, so I get that too. I always worry about when I invite people on, if somebody might be a little nervous and stuff. And I don't want to hit the hard questions for everybody all the time and stuff. And I think the point here is that everybody has a different viewpoint and a different understanding on their specific business. There is no real technically right way or wrong way. There's only a way that works for you, whoever's watching this. If it works for you, it's fine. Just because I don't do it or I don't recommend something, if it works for you, it's fine. I do stuff that people say you should never do that, or you're never going to make money doing that, or why you do that. And, it works for us. It works for us. I saw one comment here. I'm terrible on the chat. I have vision issues, so I don't do the chat very much these days. But one of them was, there's 100 different things and 100 different ways you can do this. And I will fully agree. I've seen people that sell. I wish I could show you. I take a video along in some of the places that I go and people that I've known for a long time, because you'd be surprised at what people sell or do as a business. I mean, just the weirdest. Well, not weird to me, but I mean weird to a lot of people. If you've got a passion and you've got the interest in it, whatever the passion is, if it's you want to make a lot of money, or you're gung ho on making this into a business, or you want to start here and move somewhere else with it, that's all possible. Like taking a chance, like with Travis and even Eric and Bill, everybody here, Susan and Renee, everybody's taking a chance that this is going to get them somewhere. It's what was that? Rankin's the Christmas, you put one foot in front of the other, and soon you're walking out the door. The Mr. Freeze Miser one, I can't think of what that episode is.
Is that the wine truck?
No, it's not a wine truck.
Okay, because that's what I'm taking a chance on.
Well, I'm just thinking about that one foot in front of another, because again, I never thought you could do this as a business. Never. I did reselling part-time on the side. I never thought I could do it as business. So if I would have just done it, started off, who knows? And you're never going to know if you're going to be able to succeed or do something. Everyone here started at zero. I started at zero. I have people contact me that have just started off. They only got 20 listings up or something. It all starts somewhere. And if you're too timid to start it, you'll never get anywhere. Again, I suffered with reselling for a while. We didn't make enough money. It was paycheck to paycheck, but I didn't give up. I wanted it. I fell through. I kept going at it, You're going to get somewhere. Don't give up. If you want to do this, if you want the freedom, don't give up. Give it a chance. Everything takes time. It took us 3 years to have a full-time income. 3 years. Can you survive for 3 years without buying anything extra, no new clothing or anything else like that? That's what it might take, but I'm going to leave it at that thought. I do honestly and sincerely thank everybody for checking out the show tonight. I truly thank those folks who came on and put themselves out there, especially for those who have never been on anything before. I know how that feeling is. I'm not a big person to stand in front of a bunch of people, so I get it. I understand, and I honestly and sincerely thank each and every one of you for coming on with me tonight. And we're going to let it go at that and say good night for you. So again, if you haven't hit that thumbs up, please slam that thumbs up. Show some love for those in the channel as well as the channel itself. But I thank you, and I hope you all have a good evening. He's got the monkey up.
Bye, guys.
Take it easy, everybody.